Hi, this is Pastor James coming to you with a midweek message. And after this message, I'd like to share 3 things that I could really use your help with. We could use your help with here at Highlands Church. And in the next few minutes, I'd like to ask you to have a drink with me. So pull up a beverage, and I'd like to share something with you that I believe will help you be encouraged and lift you up. It starts with this simple idea that Jesus probably didn't look like we think he did. There is a truth that the people who met Jesus, they didn't recognize him because they didn't think that the Son of God should look the way he did. And that doesn't mean that Jesus was cast in the wrong role. It just means that people had such a distorted idea of who God was and a distorted idea of who they were that when they saw Jesus, they didn't recognize that he was the Son of God. Now, my question for you is a simple one. Do you think that you would recognize Jesus if you met him? Now, I don't think I would. And this is why. Because the disciples didn't even recognize Jesus so many times. There's a good chance that just like the disciples, when they were outside of the empty tomb after Jesus' resurrection, they thought he was a gardener. And then later that day, there were people who were walking with Jesus, talking with him, who knew Jesus, and they talked all afternoon with him, and they didn't recognize him until the end. You know, the truth is that we oftentimes don't recognize Jesus, and honestly, we don't really recognize what he has to bring for us. We only have a superficial or a peripheral understanding of who he is, like a passing relationship with Jesus rather than a deep one. Now, the best illustration of this is the story of the woman who met Jesus at the well. It says in the scripture, John chapter 4, it says that a Samaritan woman came to the well to draw water. And Jesus said to her, "Give me some water to drink." Now, his disciples had gone on into the town. So Jesus is alone at the well with this woman. It says that the Samaritan woman, in the next scripture, the Samaritan woman asked, "Why do you, a Jewish man, a different race, ask for something from me, a Samaritan woman?" And it has a little annotation for us in the scripture that says Jews and Samaritans didn't associate with each other. It sounds like the segregation of the Deep South many years ago. Finally, the scripture says in this little bit that Jesus responded, "If you recognize God's gift and who is saying to you, 'Give me some water to drink,' you would be asking him and he would be giving you living water." Jesus wanted a relationship with that woman. He wanted to have a deep connection with her. See, Jesus is God's gift to you. He is God's gift to me. So we are called to drink deeply. Now, that's why I asked you to get a drink and have a drink with me. I'd like to suggest a spiritual practice, a very simple one, to just take a drink of water and recognize, or it could be whatever you have, coffee or whatever you have there with you, Coca-Cola, but to take that and to recognize that Jesus says, "I am the living water." And then just to drink it, and to feel that water, that liquid, enter into your body and to meet you deeply and to recognize that Jesus is saying, I am the one who wants to have a deep, beautiful relationship with you. I want to connect with you in a deep way. And you can actually do that through this practice. It's kind of like having a drink of water and having a prayer at the same time. So that's my encouragement for you. I hope that's a meaningful thing for you to do. Worst case scenario, you've got better hydration in your body. So try it out and let me know how it works. I'd like a little email from you guys. And then check out the Highlands app. Every week we put on some new prayers, some new praises, some new information, some new opportunities for you to serve. Now, here's a couple of the things that are happening here at Highlands. We do have the Therefore Fundraiser coming up, and I want to say congratulations to some of you who have contacted us and said, "Hey, you know what? I can't make it to the fundraiser, but I'm going to buy some tickets so that Highlands Church office can hand it out to people in need who can't afford tickets, or even people who are kind of like local heroes in our community. Teachers, firefighters, people that we know that are just neighbors of ours that we can invite as guests to that evening. Because we know that this evening is a unique opportunity to invite people into the life and joy and vision of the church who would maybe not feel comfortable in a church location. And so we've even had people like that come through this event last year, and they are thriving here at Highlands now. So that's part of why we're so excited. So keep up the cool ideas. I liked people who were saying they were buying a whole table for their small group, or they were connecting to others. So This is the week when we should all be dreaming about how we can invite people and we can actually make this one of those great feast moments for the church. You know, one of those things where we look back and say, wow, God, you did something amazing that night. Now, the second thing I need your help with, and the church does, is this nomination of new elders. Now, we have 5 open eldership positions. That's buildings and grounds, kids, youth, hospitality, and of course our clerk, which is our secretary for the session, the leaders of this church. So what we do every year is come to you and ask you for nominations of men and women that you think would be fantastic for these specific positions. So please email the church office with your nomination and which particular position you think they'd be good for, and if you can attach an explanation of why you think they'd be good. And we will also be following up with this message. In the next couple of days, you'll be getting a nomination form here from the church that's an electronic nomination form to make it really easy for you to pray through the nominees and submit them. We will receive those. We will pray over those nominations, and we will present to the congregation some great candidates for you to elect and vote on in the next coming months. So please pray about this. It's a big deal because this is the people who are going to lead the church and who are going to help guide the vision of the church in the next coming years. The last thing is we're having a back-to-school bash. This is huge for the youth. Now, I've been in communities where they've had big parties for graduation, big, safe graduation parties that are off the hook, and people have a great time, and it really blesses the kids. Well, we thought here at Highlands, why don't we have one of those parties at the beginning of the school year so kids can connect with each other, get a great relationship going, invite some of their friends who probably wouldn't otherwise go to a church setting, and then get their year set off on the right foot where they can really, make some great headway. Maybe they'll end up coming to Hume Lake later. Maybe they'll come to our youth retreats. Maybe they'll come to our next surf day at the beach. So please pray for this back to school bash. It is on September 28th. So it's 3 days after our fundraiser, which is on September 25th on Sunday. So please pray for these things. You are the first to hear about them. I'm so excited to spend this time with you every week. It means the world to me. Again, you know what? Let's do it together. Let's celebrate who God is and the relationship that we're guided into. Take care.